Hello, my name is Billy Island, and I'm so excited about today. This episode of Leading Through is so important, whether you're leading a small group in your church, whether you're leading or supervising a group of individuals at your job, your colleagues, whether you're leading up to your direct report, whether you're leading a family or you starting a small business, you're an entrepreneur. This episode is going to add so much value to you because today what we are talking about is leading with emotional courage. What I want you to do, if you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, I want you to like, and share. That would mean the world to me if you would like, and share. So many times as we lead, while we're leading, we have to have difficult conversations. We have to have conversations that are very, very difficult, whether we're talking to our children, whether we're talking to our direct report at work, whether we are talking to people to get them to a desired destination, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is all about being free to lead people through your authentic self. It's impossible to live authentically without being in tune with your emotions. So if you want to be real, because that's the way we want to lead from a real place, you have to be free to be authentic. Now, I know many times if I say be authentic, you say, well, I'm just going to bring all my baggage, all my insecurities, all my failures, all my hurts to the table. I'm not speaking about being immature. I'm saying being your authentic self. And sometimes that's a journey to identify like who you really are. You don't have to live off your emotions, but definitely you need to be real about how you feel. So if you're willing to feel everything, you're able to do anything. I want you to get that. Lean in right there. If you are willing to feel everything, you're able to do anything. It takes courage to be honest with yourself about your emotions. So in the context of leadership, leaders have difficult conversations. They create accountability and inspire actions. So let's talk about that. In the context of leadership, why do you need to have emotional courage? Because you're going to have difficult conversations. And how many times have you had to go into a meeting and you knew it was going to be a difficult conversation? You knew you had to come with some hard truths, some realities, and anxieties begin to start rising up. You knew you were going to have to say something tough. You're going to have to give someone a truth, or you're going to have to reprimand someone or correct them or confront them. And now this difficult conversation has your emotionals all in an uproar. Or how about creating accountability systems? All leaders have to create some form of accountability system. And so many times when you deal with people, people take accountability sometimes the wrong way. They may feel like you're being controlling or toxic because you want to have some type of ways to measure success or some type of way to determine whether they're winning or not. And what about inspiring action? It takes emotional courage. So what I want to talk about is 4 essential elements that all great leaders demonstrate to lead with emotional courage. So one of the things is you need to be confident in yourself. And you need to be connected with others. You also need to be committed to a purpose, and you need to act with emotional courage. So let's unpack that. If you're confident in yourself and don't connect well with others, well, everything be about you. You'll come off as a narcissistic jerk. You alienate others. Why? Because you're confident in yourself, but you really don't connect with other people well. But if you connect with others well and lack confidence in yourself, well, what you'll do is you'll betray some of your core principles. You'll betray your own needs and your own perspective. So let's unpack this. Let's talk about building your confidence. In order to lead from an emotional, steady place, a fortitude, you got to build your emotion. Now, this builds your foundation for life. and all other interactions. So what you want to do is you want to know who you are. You want to become who you were created to be. I'm going to repeat that. You want to know who you are, and you want to become who you were created to be. Now, in order to know who you are, you come to realize where you need to go in order to become who you were created to be. Often when you pick up your phone and you open up your Maps app or Waze, it depends what app you use in order to use that navigation system in order to get you to a destination. One of the first things that app is going to do is going to notify you of your current location. That's the first thing it's going to do. It's going to notify you you're right here. It's like kind of dropping a pin. So or it says current location, meaning it detects where you're at. And only when that app is able to detect where you're at, and you usually have to give them access to your locations. Once it's able to detect where you're at, then and only then it can tell you the directions to get to where you want to go. So I want you to take that and look for a moment from the perspective of building your confidence and knowing who you are. Knowing who you are means that you know where you're at. And now that you know where you're at, then and only then will you know the direction you need to go in order to become who you were created to be. Remember, this is the foundation. This builds a foundation for your life and all your interactions, other people in your marriage and parenting, with any person that you come in contact with. In order to lead well, you got to know yourself well. The leadership guru, John C. Maxwell, says it like this: in order to grow yourself, you must know yourself. And so this builds you a foundation for your life. And so this is one of the things, in order to lead with emotional courage, you need to build your confidence. We all need to be confident in who we are. And also, we need to connect with others. That's the second thing I want you to get, is connect with others, which means you have to be curious and trusting. Like, in order for me to actually connect with others, I need to be curious about them. I want to know who they are. I want to actually have a trusting mentality to learn how to let people in my space become a part of me, begin to start connecting with them. And then, in order to be curious and trusting, it leads me to be clear and trustworthy. So in order to be curious and trusting with a person, this is how I will connect with people. And in order to do that, I need to be clear and trustworthy. Success depends on connecting with others. You can't be successful without connecting with others. You can't name one person that didn't have an amazing team, an amazing group of people around them in order for them to be successful. Success depends on connecting with others. And that takes communicating skillfully, even when it's hard, and showing up for others. When you show up for others, even in difficult times, you show up consistently for others. What it does, it demands their respect. You connect with them. Even if you have flaws, they're like, okay, this person shows up, they deliver. And that demands people's respect. You don't have to demand it with words. What you're doing is you're connecting well with them. You're saying, I'm going to be here with you no matter what. What do? We want to build confidence. Another thing we want to do, we want to connect with others. In order to be able to lead with emotional courage, we also want to commit to purpose. When you commit to purpose, it gives you an emotional solidification. You are solidified. You have fortitude. You have a strong foundation when you're committed to a purpose. It energizes your focus, and your focus, because of your focus creates synergy in whoever you're leading. When you energize your focus creates synergy with whoever you're leading. Whoever you're leading sees that you're driven, and achieving a common goal requires a focus. You got to be focused in order to actually achieve a vision, a purpose. It has to be bigger than you, more than about you. It inspires others toward a common goal. And this requires focus, and it supersedes any one person's agenda or interests. So what do we do? Well, we begin to start being committed to a greater cause, to a purpose. And in order to cultivate emotional energy, we want to cultivate emotional courage. What I mean by energy is direction. You having a mindset to feel courageously and act boldly. So the fourth thing is you want to develop day in and day out, developing an emotional courage. Emotional courage feeds on and draws on confidence, connections, and commitment. I want you to get that. You want to learn how to build confidence. You want to be able to connect with others, and you want to be committed to a greater cause. Remember, if you are willing to feel everything, you are able to do anything. I always tell people that it's impossible to be free if you're not in tune with your feelings. Now, obviously, we know that you don't make decisions based on your feelings. Not entirely. You don't let your feelings rule you. But for you to stuff down your feelings, for you to just cram your feelings in an area of your life and not be real with how you feel, what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself in a very toxic environment inwardly. You're going to be in a toxic situation because you've crammed all your emotions. It's like when you were children. I don't know if you ever done this, but when I was a kid, when my parents would say, or my mom would say, clean up your room. Well, what I would do is just open up my closet and throw everything in there. And so once she came to look to see, oh, it looks like everything is in place. She opened that closet, everything came like out recklessly. And often that's what happens. And it's hard to have a difficult conversation. It's hard to lead people well. It's hard to get a person to a desired destination, because that's what leaders do. That's what we do. We do the hard thing. We can do the hard thing. And in order to do the hard thing, we have to be emotionally healthy. So we want to lead with emotional courage. Why? Because if we're not emotionally healthy, what would take place is when we have to do that hard thing, when we have to have that hard conversation, it's just like when our parents used to open the closet door, everything comes out. Because you've been bottle capping everything up. You never was real with yourself. Remember, we want to be real. And if you are willing to feel everything, you feel it. Lean into that. You get a little pushback there, lean into that. And just be honest. I didn't feel right when you said that. And that don't mean be a person that's constantly complaining. It's just being honest. And for me, I want to just lean in on my faith here, because anyone that follows me or knows me, I'm actually a pastor. I pastor a local church. And so if you feel that, there's no need of cramming it down. Just be honest with God. Go ahead and have a little mini conversation with God. God, I didn't like the way that felt when they said that. But one thing you do not want to do is act like you don't feel it. Act like you don't know. You want to be confident. How are you confident? Well, the reason why you're confident is you can made a connection. And for me, that connection is with God. And then you make a commitment. And that commitment is to something greater, is to his vision, his overall purpose for your life. Remember, if you are willing to feel everything, you're able to do anything. You know what? I'm reminded of a writer in the Bible. His name was Paul. They actually called him an apostle. That was like his title. That was something that he'd done. He had apostolic anointing. He had the presence of God on his life in that form. And, his writer said something. He says, after all of these hardships, he began to start explaining all these hardships that he went through. And he came to this conclusion in this book that he was writing to a group of individuals. He says, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. he talked about all these things that could actually cause him to fold, cause him to throw in the towel. You know, the writer of this book is saying, if you feel confident through your connection with Christ and your commitment to a greater purpose, you will cultivate emotional courage to have difficult conversations. I can do all things. You know what it's saying? All things are even the difficult things, even the tough things. I can do all things, even the hard conversations. Even when I'm feeling some type of way or have this anxiety rising in front of me, these fears, I can do all things. Why? Because I have confidence. Why am I confident? Because of my connection to the Lord. Why do I have a connection with the Lord? In order for me to be committed to the purpose that he has given me. So prior to the writer saying this, he could do all things. He named so many things. He says, I've been naked. I've been hungry. I've been with a lot. I've been without. He experienced so much. You know what he finally said? He said, I've learned to be content. You know that word content means? I've learned to have emotional fortitude with whatever state that I'm in. He says, I can do all things. Leaders lead with emotional courage. Why? Because of the confidence, because of the connections, because of the commitment. And this gives them courage. I hope this really blesses you. If you have any questions, please ask any question in our comments and we'll get back to you. Please rate, review, share this with anyone you feel the need to share it with. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to run into this issue. No matter what you're doing, if you're leading kids, you're going to have to actually lead with emotional courage. If you have a marriage, you're going to have to lead with emotional courage. Sometimes you're going to have a conversation that is very difficult. It's very tough. You may even feel a little inferior. You may have to take on a new job at your employment at your corporation, and now you're leading more people, or now you're leading for the very first time, or you just now opened up a business. Now you're leading, and you're just having to create job descriptions. You have to create space and margin in your time and create a schedule. You have to make a decision. You have to lead with emotional courage. One thing for sure is emotions are constantly going to be there. If you're willing to feel everything, you're able to do anything. One of the things that I don't ever like in my personal life is when I don't feel stuff. That means something's wrong. I'm numb. I'm hurt. I'm hardened. I used to think in my early years that I was just supposed to be never move, never have any emotions. I keep a somber face, and that's spiritual. And that's, it has its place. But I want to be honest with myself and be authentic as a leader. I want to be able to feel someone's pain. Much as I don't like pain, I want to be able to feel the pain in my life so it can drive me to a place to get healing, to get answers. When I'm confused, I want to feel that. I want you to lean in there and just be honest with yourself about when you feel some type of way. Go make a connection. Make a commitment so you can have emotional courage. I am so grateful for you joining me. It is very, very important to me that you get content every month. Sometimes we may even give you a bonus episode, but we're closing out the year because when we recorded this, it's 2024. I want to say Merry Christmas to you. I don't know what your faith is, what your beliefs is, or happy holidays, but I love you so much. I want you to take this content and utilize it in whatever space that you function in. God bless you, and you have a great day. Thank you for joining us at Leading Through with Billy Allen. Remember, share, like.